my screen though, and then we can get you taken care of, hopefully. Feel free, definitely, be sure to use that live chat function. In the bottom panel, you'll have that ability to click on there and send in any chats over to us, and then we can try and get it all taken care of. But it looks like we should be good to go. Go ahead and start recording again. So just so that everybody knows, we are going to be recording today's webinar. So if you have to leave early or if you have somebody at the club that was not able to join, don't worry, we're going to get that webinar recorded and sent out to everybody. We're also going to send out the slides from today's webinar to everybody, so you'll have access to everything in the future as well. Without further ado, welcome again. We're super excited to go ahead and get started with you guys today. We do have a lot of stuff to cover, and we want to leave some time at the end for Q&A. So we're going to try and kind of get through everything at once and then go back and do questions towards the end of the webinar. If any questions do come up, though, feel free to just use that chat panel. A couple just housekeeping items before we get too far into today. Again, if any questions come up, there is the chat option. You can send a message directly to us and let us know what your question is. Like I also mentioned, this webinar is being recorded, along with the slides will be sent out later today or definitely by the end of the week at the latest. Without further ado, though, we'll go ahead and get into today's agenda. So we're going to cover a couple different things today. The first thing that we're going to get into is the 3 W's of social media, what platforms to be on, when to be posting, and what content performs best and worst. We're also going to talk about hashtags, what they are and how to actually use them, how to be using Instagram stories, creating content tips and tricks, and how to save time posting. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. Before we get into the first part of today's webinar, though, can you guys somebody shoot me a message through the chat? Let me know if you can hear me. Probably should have done this before we started the screen share, but just give me a heads up if you're able to hear me in the chat function. Awesome. Good deal. Perfect. We're already off to a better start than last webinar. Everyone can hear. Beautiful. So then we will go ahead and get right into it today. Now that you all also know how to use the chat function, feel free to use that with questions and comments as we kind of go through this. The 3 W's of social media, where, when, and what. The first part is the where to be posting. This is a really common question, probably one of the most popular questions that we get here at Long Drive Agency is where are we supposed to be spending time? It seems like every other day there's a new platform or social media popping up or somebody's telling you to do something different. And we wanted to try and simplify it and just give you a couple solid answers that you can kind of live by at the club. The first platform to really be focusing on is going to be Facebook. There's no doubt that Facebook is a dominating social network, and it's one that 68% of US adults are even on. 74% of those are also visiting at least once per day. So that just goes to show that there's a lot of potential to reach your audience right on Facebook. We've been doing Facebook lead generation campaigns, and we've seen a lot of success for the clients that are using those services. So it's definitely a really popular platform and has proven to be a really successful one as well. The other platform to be spending a lot of time on is going to be Instagram. Facebook acquired Instagram a while back, and since then they have only continued to grow the platform and add in new features and tools to help businesses and in turn country clubs and golf courses be successful using or on the platform itself. 35% of US adults are on Instagram, and that number is only going up. With 500 million daily active users, the platform is definitely one of the most popular out there. 400 million of those users, or 400 million users, are using Instagram Stories feature on a daily basis as well. The Instagram Stories feature is even a relatively new platform or feature inside of the app. So that just goes to show how committed Facebook and Instagram both are to providing more features and tools to its users. And then the third one to definitely be thinking about and trying to spend as much time as possible on is going to be Twitter. This is probably one of the ones that's not talked about as much, and I know a lot of our clients have Twitter accounts but are not super active on it. It's definitely one, though, that you should be thinking about spending some time on if you're not already. 24% of US adults are on Twitter, but they also have 326 million daily active users. So it's definitely a really popular platform, and especially in the golf industry, we've seen it be hands down one of the most popular platforms. It's great for just communicating and connecting with everyone out there, whether you're, a golf pro or the GM of a club or the membership director, whoever you are and whatever you do at the club, Twitter's definitely a way to connect with a bigger audience. If you are mastering all three of those and maybe you want to add a little bit more into your social media strategy, or you just want to try and start playing around with some other platforms, there's a couple other platforms that we'd recommend to be thinking about. The first one is going to be Snapchat. This one's going to be ideal for a younger audience. So roughly the 35-year-old and younger demographic is going to be what you're going to see on Snapchat. There's definitely an older demographic on Snapchat, but the majority of their user base is going to be in that younger millennial group. So it's definitely one to be thinking about using. There's so many cool tools that Snapchat offers users and businesses that are using it that it's definitely something that we've seen some success on in the past, or some success with in the past for our clients. Another platform that's been really popular and we've seen a lot of traffic get driven to our clients' websites is Pinterest. This one's going to be ideal for weddings and events. So if your club is really invested into producing or putting on events for different people, whether it's your own club events or more like personal milestones and corporate events, then Pinterest is definitely one that you should be thinking about. The way that the algorithm and the entire platform is really kind of built is great for driving traffic to websites. One thing to kind of note with Pinterest is keep in mind that high resolution imagery is a necessity for this platform. You can tend to get away with a little bit lower quality photos on Facebook and Instagram, and even Twitter for that matter. But on Pinterest, people want to see picture perfect moments. So if you're going to be spending time on it, you really want to make sure that you're doing it right. And then the last one that I would definitely kind of recommend thinking about right up there with Twitter, honestly, is going to be LinkedIn. This was one that we've seen a lot of networking success with. So if you're trying to connect with a more professional audience and you want to be connecting with business people, then really consider spending some time on LinkedIn. A lot of the clubs that I've seen on the platform don't even have company profiles created yet or company pages created. So that's something that I think right up there with Twitter, you should be really thinking about spending some time on. It's a really popular network with the golf industry, and especially for the general managers and golf pros in that kind of area, they're spending a lot of time on it. So you should be too as well. When to be posting. I would say that this is right up there with our most popular common asked question about social media is, what time am I supposed to be posting at? There's obviously a lot of options that you can be posting, and it's hard to really decide when is the best time to make sure that you're reaching the most amount of people. Let me go ahead and do a little disclaimer now about this. These times are not set in stone or universally applicable times. These are kind of meant to be starting points. Every Facebook page, every audience of a Facebook page is going to be different. So these are great for you to kind of use as a starting point, but make sure that you're testing different times to figure out what works best for your specific page. Facebook, though, we've seen from studies that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday tend to be the best days during the week to be posting. If you are going to be posting during those times, we recommend between 12 o'clock p.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. to get the most reach. Some other times that you can consider trying, though, are 9 o'clock a.m. and 8 o'clock p.m. Normally, the lunch time on social media is going to be your most popular time. If you think about what most people do during lunch is they get on Facebook, they get on Instagram, they get on Twitter, they get on their social networks and do a little bit of personal time looking through those feeds. So it makes a lot of sense. And then also the evenings and mornings across the board are going to be kind of your fallback times. Right before somebody goes to work or right whenever they get out of bed, the first thing that they tend to check is going to be their social media. And then again, right after dinner or right before they go to bed, they're going to check it again. Instagram, though, we've seen some specific days, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday between 11 a.m. and 1 o'clock p.m. Again, that lunchtime tends to be the best. And then some alternate times is 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock p.m. Instagram's also really actually pretty nice. You can get into your Instagram businesses page and actually go to the insights area, and you can see exactly what time, what days and what time your specific audience is actually online. So that's one that I'd highly recommend to spend a little bit of time in doing some internal research on. Twitter tends to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, again around that lunchtime, 12 o'clock p.m. And then some alternate times is the 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. range. There were some other times that we found successful, like really early in the morning, like 5 a.m., which kind of makes sense with Twitter's feed because it does get very built up. There's a lot of people posting on Twitter, and it's meant to kind of be like a rapid posting platform and a truly communicative platform. It makes sense that it tends to get kind of filled up with other posts. So the earlier and more often that you can post on Twitter, the more successful you're likely going to be on the platform. What to be posting. So this is probably going to be one of the most important things that we're going to talk about today is the actual content that you're posting. The post at the top is a great example of something from one of the pages that we follow that we've seen consistently tends to post just text on their pages. Facebook algorithm absolutely does not favor text-only posts. That has been a common problem with a lot of pages over the past few years as Facebook changes how it ranks and distributes your content. And text-only posts absolutely perform at the lowest extent. So Western Skies, for example, is one of the ones that we've been following and has done an absolutely amazing job. We have to give a big shout out to Ryan and the team over at Western Skies for how they've been handling their social media and their strategy online. You can see in those posts, they took the exact same content of the example post at the top, talking about their lunch special, but they added some imagery behind it. Facebook ranks photos above text substantially. So the reach and how often your post is shown to your followers is going to only increase whenever you add a photo to it compared to just text. So you can see those are a couple graphics that probably took Western Skies a couple more minutes to create than if they would have just done text, but the reach that they gained out of doing those graphics was probably substantially larger than anyone else just doing text. You'll also notice that they used hashtags, which is something, as previously mentioned, we'll talk about later in the webinar, but that's just something to really kind of be thinking about is how you can be adding hashtags and just creating some really engaging content. One thing I do want to notice too, aside from Western Skies throwing in the emoji on the first one, is that third photo with on the golf course. That's something that grabs attention really, really fast. So if you're scrolling through and you see food sitting on a golf course, you're probably going to stop just to at least look at like what's going on in that image. And then the fact that he kind of threw in, just a little bit of a fun quote, something a little bit different than the normal call to action saying stop by or whatever it may be, was just another way that they did a great job at really trying to emphasize grabbing that attention and having fun with their social content. These are going to be a couple other posts that I would definitely recommend and would say are very well done. The Wayda Eldorado Country Club, the one on the left, for example, that's a post that would have been really easy for them to have just done text on. If they would have posted up their weekly, news or what's coming up during the week, which is something that I know a lot of people do, is upcoming events or whatever it may be. The fact that Eldorado Country Club made it a little bit different just by throwing in that image, it not only helps grab attention a lot faster on the social feed when someone's scrolling through it, but again, Facebook's going to care about that and they're going to rank it even higher. Tour 18 as well has done a really great job on sharing relative content to their audience. So by sharing an article from Golf Monthly about golf swings, they're directly going straight to their audience. The people that are following you guys are obviously interested in the golf industry. They obviously care about golfing. And so by throwing in that, little shout out or that little information of like, hey, here's a tip, here's something that we're going to give to you. That's just another great way to kind of give back to your followers and provide something different. It doesn't always have to be images or videos or, what's going on at the club. It can be just generic relative industry content. And Tour 18 did a great job of doing that on their own social profiles. One of the other ones that Willow Fork did, and I just saw this one while we were getting ready for the presentation, and I thought that this was a really genius way of doing it. So shout out to the team at Willow Fork for this. But rather than just post up about, hey, we have these upcoming events, they threw in a little bit of something fun. You'll notice it's actually a GIF that they added to the post. And so it's just something different. It's something that not everybody does. So it helps to grab that attention. And then on top of that, they also link to their Facebook events that they created for their upcoming events. And so this way, if someone was scrolling through and saw that, the pasta night on there, they could easily click right on to that event and go and make a reservation. So those are a couple really great posts that we've seen. And a couple more just to show you guys some great content ideas is on the video side of things. If I was to rank how Facebook is ranking the content that you're posting, it'd be links, photos, and then at the very top of the spectrum is going to be videos. Facebook, without a doubt, loves video content. So if you can post a video, definitely do it. These are a couple videos that Eldorado Country Club has posted to kind of build up some conversation and, promote their upcoming events. You can see on the photo on the left, if you look closely, they also included on the video on the left, they included their reservation link so that you can make a reservation, as well as just a couple details of it. And even the one on the right, if you look at it very carefully, you can see it also says, please make reservations at, and then it gives you the phone number and their email address. And those are just perfect ways of kind of showing how you can do a video and do something fun and creative while still promoting content. Even if it's just standing in front of the camera and talking about the specific event or what the details are, that's always better than just posting text for it. Eldorado Country Club also was able to post these videos, these videos were created actually through the video editing service that we offer through the Creative Hub. So all that they had to do was they took the videos on their phone, they sent it to us, and then we created the custom video for that event specifically for them. So that's a great way. If anyone's interested in that, feel free to shoot us a message in the chat or feel free to reach out directly to myself or to Blake, and we can kind of talk to you guys a little bit more about the Creative Hub, which also has a graphic design tool in it. So that would help with photos that you post on the Facebook and flyers. Next up is going to be hashtags. So I want to cover a couple just very high level things. I know that this might be, very basic to a lot of people, but there's something that can be very easily confused on how you're supposed to use them and what they're actually used for. So what hashtags are basically a way for you to categorize posts, or for social networks to categorize posts and make it easier to find and engage with specific types of content and brands. So Nike has hashtag Just Do It, for example. And the big question is why do I want to use hashtags? Aside from the success that we've seen with using them on Instagram, there's a limit for 15 hashtags on Instagram. And if you're using 5 to 10 hashtags on your Instagram post, it's automatically going to see a much larger increase. I can guarantee that from personal studies and experiments that there's some massive success behind adding in those hashtags. But the real question is why am I going to use a hashtag? They're a great way for you to help increase exposure. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that as many people as possible are seeing your content. For example, during the announcement campaign that we created and ran for Northern Texas PGA to launch their redesigned website and the launch of their foundation, we did hashtag growing the game. And so all the content that we were putting out was based around this hashtag growing the game. So it was a way for us to organize it, but also get conversations started. So when someone wanted to post up about the redesigned website or something specific in the foundation, they instinctively felt, okay, let me share or let me add in this hashtag, which just helps build that exposure and helps get people interested in it. For those who have never really truly engaged with a hashtag on social media, I definitely would recommend after this webinar, give it a try and give it a shot to just get on Instagram or Twitter or even Facebook and click on one of the hashtags, and you'll see it brings you to a page or to an area where it will display all the content that's ever been posted for that hashtag. So if you're interested in golf and you do hashtag golf and you search that, then you can see every single post that was included with hashtag golf. That's something that is a really great and completely free way to help get your profiles out there and help build your audience. So definitely recommend just adding in some hashtags. Instagram and Facebook stories. This is definitely a really important piece of the webinar as well that I think is something that not a lot of clubs and not a lot of companies in the golf industry are using just yet. And so I'm hoping that some of you can see this and take some actionable tips away from this especially. What are Instagram stories is probably a question that some of you are asking right now. Instagram stories is still a relatively new feature to Instagram, actually. It's inside the Instagram app that lets users post photos and videos that essentially vanish after 24 hours, which means that they're a great way of showing behind the scenes content and more of the day-to-day life around the club without having to create an actual post around that specific content. Some of the screenshots or the examples on the screen now are from the Northern Texas PGA. They do this every Monday. They post up a weekend recap of different tournaments that went on for the junior tour, and they even post some videos and photos that were taken at the different tournaments. So that's kind of how NTPGA is using them. I know that Willow Fork, for example, has done a really great job with it. Unfortunately, they didn't do it within the last 24 hours, so I wasn't able to get screenshots of their specific content, but they've done a great job at posting just behind the scenes content of getting ready for an event and what the club goes through to set up for a wedding or get ready for a tournament and at the tournament. Little things like that are just really great ways for you to show what you're doing without having to create this massive piece of content. I think one of the big hesitations behind a lot of clubs and not creating more content is you feel like it has to be perfect. You feel like that Facebook post or that Instagram post or that tweet has to be the perfect tweet. It has to sound right and the verbiage has to be right, and maybe you have to go through a chain of command to get it approved. Instagram stories kind of takes out all of that stress and concern about it not being perfect. It's meant to be in the moment. It's not meant to be this, absolutely perfect piece of content. So we're going to go ahead and create an Instagram story actually real quick to just kind of show you what it actually is and how you go about doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and share my iPhone so that we can take a look at that. Perfect. So this is inside the Instagram app for those who know or for those who don't. And so whenever you open up the Instagram app, the first thing that you're going to do is actually swipe to the right side of your screen. Or if you see at the top left of the corner, there's a little camera icon. You can just click onto that camera icon and it will open up the stories screen. And so I'm not going to do this for super long because I don't want to get super laggy, but so we'll take a picture real quick of the webinar. And this way we can post it up on the LDA Instagram. And so from here, what you can actually do on your Instagram stories is there's a little sticker icon next to there's the text and then the pin and then a sticker icon. If you click that, you can actually select from a couple stickers that Instagram has preloaded inside of here. So you can add your location, you can mention somebody, you can add a hashtag or a GIF or the time of day. You can even do polls or ask questions. You can do a countdown for an event. I know I've seen Willow Fork do countdowns for events. So you could have your members actually, whenever they click the countdown, it'll automatically add a reminder through the Instagram app whenever the time's up on the countdown. So if you posted one for member appreciation or for a specific tournament and somebody clicked on it and added the reminder to their Instagram app, then when the countdown is over, it'll automatically push a notification to their phone saying, hey, countdown is up or timer's up for this post or this poll from this club or from your club. So that's a really cool way, but we'll do location, for example. And so location will show you a couple of the businesses or companies closest to you. Your club will probably show up kind of towards the top, but since mine's not showing up, I'm going to type in Long Drive Agency and we'll see it appear, and then I can click it and add it right there. And so that's just a really cool way for you to add in your location. And I'll show you how that helps actually build the reach and who sees it here in a second. And then you can also click anywhere on it and type in some text. So we'll do having fun on the webinar, which I hope everybody is. And then we'll change the text style, be a little bit different, change it up. And there we go. So that's going to be my post. So now what I can do is I can send it to specific people by clicking send to, or I can add it to my story, which you can actually do right through there. And so I'm also going to add it to my Facebook story automatically, which you can do inside the Instagram story settings, which I'll show you here in a second. So what that means is when I press share, it's automatically going to share it also to my Facebook page onto the stories on there. So again, that's just another great way of helping put content in multiple places and get people talking and building some awareness around it. What's also kind of cool is from this one area, you can also add it to your highlights. So highlights are meant to be things that show up on your profile, on your specific Instagram profile that are about specific content. So I'll show you that here in a second actually, but let's add it to the behind the scenes and click done. And so then it'll automatically add that to my Instagram story. And if I come to my profile now, we'll see behind the scenes right there, and you can create new highlights right from that area and select previously posted stories and create your own highlight reel. And so that's just meant to kind of be exactly what it sounds like. It's highlights of what content you've posted onto Instagram stories. And then also just to go ahead and show you a couple other cool things, there's a couple different ways that you can post content, different media types like Boomerang or text or go live on Instagram. So you can kind of play around with those on your own time, but you can also swipe up right from there, which will let you select from images on your phone or inside your photo library on your phone. So you can easily just scroll through those and find different pieces of content on your phone that you want to share. And so whenever you click that, you can automatically add it there. What's also kind of cool, or to do the Facebook stories thing under settings in that top corner, whenever you click on that and you scroll down, there's a little option to share your story to Facebook automatically. So you don't even have to worry about pressing it every single time. You just click share and it'll automatically add it to both of those things. And then we'll go back and just to show you real quick why it's important to add a location to your stories, because whenever you're watching stories, you can actually click on those stickers and then I can click see location. It'll bring me to that location on Instagram. So it'll show me all the different things that have been tagged at that specific location over time. And there's even an Instagram stories for a location. So if I click on that, then I can see all the different pieces of content that have been posted to Instagram stories throughout the last 24 hours. So I know that was kind of a lot of information to cover right there. But basically Instagram stories are really cool and they're really important to be spending time posting on. If you guys have questions specifically about that, feel free to send those over through the group chat or through the chat inside the webinar, or reach out to me directly and I can kind of explain it a little bit more. But I just want to make sure that we did a somewhat basic overview of what Instagram stories are, because they are super important. It's great to build exposure and you should definitely be spending time on it, is kind of the gist of that. So we will go ahead and hop back in to Keynote. There we go. All right. Tips and tricks for creating content. So this is going to be probably the most actionable advice that we're going to give you guys throughout the webinar, aside from all the other advice that we've shared so far. These are going to be, we're going to go over a couple different content ideas that we wanted to make sure that we shared with you. And so the first one to kind of be thinking about whenever you're trying to figure out what to post on social media is consider using your club's newsletter to create multiple pieces of content. I know a lot of clubs are notorious for posting their flyers for events or whatever it may be onto Facebook, which is definitely a great way to do it. We're using Eldorado Country Club as an example. I hope that's okay with you, Lauren. This is just kind of one of the ways, though, that you can really kind of be using the newsletter that you're building, because you guys are, most country clubs or even golf courses that do, weekly or monthly newsletters, they're 10 to 20, upwards of 30 pages long, which means that that's 30 pieces of content that you have that you can be posting. And it also means that not everybody's going to read everything. So the more often that you can share it and get it out there, the better off you're going to be. So whether it's posting a flyer or sharing the message that is in there from the GM or from the golf pro, whatever it may be, don't be afraid to post something a little bit different. You'd be surprised how many people want to read that message from the GM that maybe don't always get your emails or don't always get the newsletter. So those are just a dozen different ways that you can be using your newsletter to create more Facebook content, more social content. So that's one content idea for you guys. The second one is promoting your upcoming events and any available tee times. So this is something that Willow Fork on the left, for example, they did a really great job of kind of executing on this idea. They created a Facebook post that talked about the upcoming event that they had. They included a link to make a reservation for the event, which is through Range Forms. And then they also created a Facebook event for that event, actually, for people who want to make a reservation or who want to show interest in the event. And then to top it all off, to really make it even more exposure and help increase the exposure, they pinned it to their profile page or to the top of their page on Facebook. So that means that anyone who goes to their Facebook page, the first thing that they're going to see is that specific post. So that's just one of the ways that you can be promoting your upcoming events. The more that you can promote them, the better off it's going to be. But also don't just post the flyer. Do things like Willow Fork did, post the reservation link, post some more details about it. Especially as the event gets closer, you should be posting more about that upcoming event, not just one and done type of situation. And then on the right, Western Skies, again, they did a great job with this. We were really kind of honestly blown away and really happy and impressed to see the content that they were putting out. They did a great job of, promoting the upcoming good weather that they were having and encouraging people to book a tee time. They even created custom photos or, just kind of a basic graphic that had a shot of the golf course, which helped grab your attention. But just above it, they also showed what the weather was actually going to be. So there was no guessing or, the person that saw that didn't have to leave the Facebook app to go check the weather and then come back to make the tee time. They could do it right through there. So that was a really great way of kind of promoting that you had open tee times without really kind of making it almost too spammy or too call to action-y. So this is a great way. And what you should be considering doing is not just posting that once a week, but maybe post it up Monday. Say, hey, here's the weather for the week. We've got some great weather and a lot of open tee times. Be sure to book your tee time now. And then Thursday or Friday, actually post what tee times are currently available at your club on Facebook. Say, hey, we've got a 9 o'clock and a 10 o'clock, and post that up. And this way people don't have to go around chasing to figure out what is available and what's going on. They can just go to your Facebook page. Another really great piece of content is coming from Berry Creek. They've done a couple different posts over the last few weeks and months about the new rules that have been rolled out to try and help make it more fun and more informative for the viewers. And so they've done some behind the scenes of a weekly series, essentially, of different golf tips. And I've seen a couple of different clubs across the industry be doing this, but this is something that everybody should be considering doing, is getting in the habit of doing a weekly series. Every Tuesday is Tip Tuesday, and you post up a video of your head golf pro out on the course, giving viewers a specific tip. And what that does is, not only is it super informative and it's something that everyone can appreciate, it is a lot more likely to go viral and people to want to share it. For example, that first photo on the far left, it had 14 engagements, 8 comments, and 532 views. So that just goes to show, when you share content or when you create content that's shareable, it's instantly going to increase the exposure that it gets. So, consider really spending some time doing a weekly series or some kind of tips just to help drive some interest. And Berry Creek has also done, I've seen some like weekly or daily updates, like this is what's going on this week at the club. And it's just the head golf pro or the GM or whoever it may be that's available to do the video, talking on the camera saying, hey, here's what's going on this coming up week at the club. Make sure to go by the website or give us a call and let us know if you want to make a reservation type of video. And it's something super simple and straightforward, but it really helps drive some action and increase engagement with your audience. The other piece of content idea that is something super important to be doing, and honestly really simple and easy to be doing, is capturing photos and videos during the event or during any event to share during or after the event. So a lot of clubs tend to struggle with not having enough imagery to post over time, but there's no reason that you can't just do 1 or 2 days a week that you do some massive content collection where you walk around the club and just grab photos and hold on to those inside your phone or through Range Social or Range Files, whatever it may be. And then this way you have content to be posting. These are just a couple examples of what Willow Fork and El Dorado Country Club have done to just post up about different events that are going on. Whether they post it up during the event or the day after or a week after, it's just about showing what the event was actually like. A lot of clubs, both private and public, do a great job at promoting their event, but then they fall short on the follow-up. They fall short on showing what the event was actually like. Potential members that come to your social profiles or come across your content aren't going to know what actually happened at that event. So you want to give them a reason to want to learn more. Whether, again, it doesn't matter if you're a private or a public club. This is something that every single course, every single golf industry company can be doing to help drive some attention and help really just drive some interest in the club. And then another really important thing to kind of keep in mind is keep it fun. Don't be afraid to have fun with what you're sharing with everybody. Facebook and Instagram and everything can get so drowned out in political stuff and drama and, just life in general, that sometimes it's just important to have fun with it. Berry Creek has done a really fabulous job with kind of having fun and posting, whether it's a meme photo or a funny video that they shared from Rock Bottom Golf, who shared it from Golf Digest, whatever it may be. Don't be afraid to have fun with it. People want to laugh and enjoy what they're looking at. So if you can find a way to make people smile, they're going to remember your name. So, and then that also goes back to creating viral content. People are more likely to share content that makes them laugh than anything else. So don't feel like you always have to be promoting an event or promoting tee times or whatever it may be. Just remember to go back to where it all kind of began, which is to connect with people and have fun with what you're doing. Boosting your Facebook posts. So this is something that I'm sure a lot of people have heard about and probably have gotten notifications even from Facebook, is to boost a post. This is something really kind of great to do and something super easy to do, honestly. If a post is doing pretty well and you want to make sure that its exposure is increased to everybody that it could reach, then don't be afraid to put a couple bucks behind it. 10 to 20 bucks behind a boosted post tends to be plenty of spending for it, and it'll help increase the people that view it. I'm going to go ahead and actually real quickly show you guys how you can boost a post. So we're going to do this. Don't worry, El Dorado, I'm not going to actually spend any money on you guys, but the boosting an event, for example, if I came through here, I saw a lot of people were engaging with it, and I wanted to make sure that all of my followers and all the people who liked my page saw it. What I can do is come in, click boost event or boost post if it was just a post. On the left, the objective, you can either leave that the same. I'm going to go ahead and change to increase awareness just because I want people to see it, not necessarily buy a ticket. And then I'm going to scroll down to the audience, and this is the important part. There's a preset audience in everybody's account that says people who like your page. And so you can click that, and what that means is the ad is only going, or that post is only going to be boosted to people who already like your page. So that just means that if all of your members like your Facebook page and you boost it to those members, that they're all going to see this post. And you can also boost it to people who like your page and their friends if you wanted to, or in your local area. So these are just some great ways to kind of put a little bit of money behind your Facebook content and hopefully increase the exposure that it's getting. So we're going to go ahead and cancel that. One thing to keep in mind is that boosting a post and a Facebook ad are different. So just kind of keep that in mind, everybody, as you're, kind of listening to this and hopefully taking some ideas away from it. If you boost a post, it's not the exact same as running a true Facebook ad. So just something to kind of keep in mind. Inviting people to like your page. This is another great little way or tip to help increase your following on social media. It's a more direct way as well, I would say. You can invite people who have liked your post to actually like your page. So on your post, it'll say the people who liked your page or who liked it. It'll say so-and-so, so-and-so, and 20 others have liked your post. If you click on that, it'll open up a pop-up similar to the one there, and you can actually go through and click invite on all of those people, and that'll automatically invite them to like your Facebook page because it means that they liked your content, but they haven't actually liked the page. So that's a great way to kind of just really kind of increase the people that are already engaging with your content to kind of encourage them to like your page as well. Another really important thing to be doing is engaging with your community. People are probably already tagging your Instagrams or Facebook locations inside of their stuff. So it's a great idea to spend some time every week or every month at the very least going through the people who have tagged your location and engaging with it. So if you notice whenever you add a location to an Instagram post, you can click on that and you'll be brought to a screen that looks like these, and you can scroll through all of the top or most recent posts and see who's posting or tagging your location in their post. And then you can go through, like, comment, engage with those people because they're in your area and more than likely they'd be interested in joining. So don't be afraid to go through there, leave comments on their content, like it, whatever it may be. You'll even notice the Sweetwater Country Club one has an Instagram story highlight at the top of it. So that means that people are posting on the Instagram stories and tagging that location like I did earlier in the Long Drive Agency example. Creating your own social media strategy. So this is something super, super important to be doing. And I think the most important thing to keep in mind, and this is coming from experience of, creating social strategies and trying to post on social media, it's really easy for you to get wrapped up in all the complexity of it. It's super easy to get overwhelmed with all that you might have to do. So some things to kind of keep in mind with that is start simple. Just focus on posting at least one post per day on your social media networks or on all of your profiles. If you can start with one post a day, it'll be really easy to slowly increase as you start seeing the benefits of it. Stay consistent. Like I said, post at least once per day. That'll help you stay consistent. And all these social networks, the way that their algorithms work is they want consistency. They want to see that you believe in their platform so that they can believe in your company. And then they'll be sure to, show some favoritism to your post. Give yourself time to plan. Sit down once a week or once a month and plan out the upcoming month or week of content. And then once or twice a month, go do some content collection. If you have your plan already pre-made, it makes it a lot easier to know what content you need to collect and go out and actually execute on it. And then reoccurring themes make it super easy to create content. So Motivation Monday or Tip Tuesday, Those are just ways to not only make it easier to create content, but come up with what content to post. If you're trying to think from scratch, it can be really kind of difficult to know what you should be posting. So Motivation Monday, for example, helps speed up that process. You know that that post needs to be about motivation, and it kind of helps just simplify the entire process. And the template on the right is a social media strategy template. It's a month-by-month one that I am going to make sure that we share with you guys once we send out the recording and the slides. So this way, hopefully that will help you all be able to create a strategy, and it's meant to be simple. So, you know, it might look like there's not a lot on there, but it helps kind of just break down what you should be doing. And how Digital Range works. So I'm going to real quickly show you guys, or how Digital Range helps. Sorry about that. I'm going to show you guys just real quickly kind of how Range Social is meant to kind of help with a lot of this. I know that this is something that a lot of people struggle with is, okay, well, do I have to remember every single day to be posting on social media? Do I have to manually go and create all these posts? The answer is no, you don't have to do it that way. Range Social is a new tool inside Digital Range that is available now. And so if you are interested in getting access to it, feel free to reach out. But it's meant to be kind of easy for you to come in here. You can view posts that you have already created in a week view. You can, what you'll notice at the top is we've also started to add in national holidays, which the intention behind that is to make it easier for you to know what's coming up and think about what content to be posting. You can also view analytics if you want to see what's been going on. Your post planner is kind of the hub of everything. It's meant to make it even easier for you to schedule content to be posted out there. So you can, whenever you create a new category inside your post planner, you'll be able to create a name and choose what platforms it automatically is posting to. And then you can also choose default post repetition, which means if you say that you want it to send out 5 times, any content in that post is going to be sent out 5 times, which is just meant to make it even easier for you. So let's say trivia night, for example, you want to have go out every single week for a month. If you come in here and you set it to 4 times, and then you go into your timings and you say that you want it to post 4 times on Wednesday, for example, at 12:30. By doing it this way, this means 4 Wednesdays in a row, that post that I create and assign to this category is automatically going to post at 12:30 for 4 Wednesdays in a row. So that's just meant to really save you time with scheduling content. It's meant to create a true strategy behind everything, honestly. So that's kind of post planner. And then the media library is something really kind of great to help you guys organize your content. Like I mentioned earlier, content collection and being able to, you know, have all your content in one area and know what content you've collected is super important. So you can see here, this is a new feature, actually, the media library. We just redesigned everything inside of it so it functions even better. We're going to be able to upload content to you guys directly. So seasonal content, for example, like templates of Valentine's Day and stuff like that. And then you can also create your own folders in here to organize your content on your own. But whenever you click into any folder, you can view all the content that's in there. You can even add tags to content now. So if you wanted to tag specific content for something, then you can easily do that straight through there. And probably the most exciting part for me anyways is now we actually have stock photos integrated in. So if you search up here for stock photos and I type in golf, it now searches through over 800,000 images inside Unsplash and free stock photo websites that you can be able to search through and find content, which just goes to back up the concept of you should never be posting text only. Even if you're just posting book a tea time or courses closed or whatever it may be, there's a photo that you can be adding to it. You can easily save to your folder from there, or whenever you're inside your folder and you click on your specific content, you can click use and post, which will bring you to the create a new post screen. From here, you can type in your text. There's the auto hashtag thing or auto hashtag tool, which just basically means that whenever you come in here and you type in your text, whenever you click that, it'll automatically generate hashtags for keywords that would make good hashtags. So we'll do golf course is open. And then whenever I click add hashtags, it'll go through and figure out which ones would make good hashtags. It also you can also have it automatically add emojis. So it looks through that text. And since I did a hashtag that did it backwards, it'll automatically look through the text and figure out which emoji would make the most sense for that. Or you can manually add it yourself if you'd like. From here, you can schedule it to send to specific social media accounts, and you can choose what time it actually sends at. So there's a lot of really great ways that you can be using this. You can also add a watermark, which is just your logo to it. This is something really cool to help kind of add a personalized feature to those stock photos and make it seem like it's coming from your club specifically. So there's a lot of really great ways that you can be using this to help save you some time. So if you do want to learn more about that, just let me know and we can talk a little bit more. The last thing about the Range Social tool is the content discovery. Going back to posting relevant content, this is a great way to come in here. You can search a term. We'll search golf, and it will search the entire internet for all articles posted in the last 24 hours, all content types that match that term. So I can see through here all the different news articles that have been posted using that hash or that term. You can even specify to only show videos for a specific term. So it'll only show video content that matches it. This goes back to posting that relevant content to your specific following. Again, people who follow you guys are clearly interested in the golf industry. So there's no reason that you shouldn't be posting golf industry related content to your social networks. The video one does take a little bit longer to load since it is higher file sizes and stuff, but again, there's a lot of really neat things that you can be using inside Range Social to help save you guys time. Social media doesn't have to be such a massive time consumption thing for you guys to be doing. And this is just one of the many ways that you can be saving time. So again, if you're interested in learning more about Range Social or Digital Range as a whole, feel free to reach out and let us know. So webinar went a little bit longer than I was expecting, but we've got a couple minutes left that I want to kind of wrap up with a Q&A session. So I want to figure out what we can help you guys with, what questions you may have, whether about what we talked about or maybe things that we didn't talk about and you wanted us to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and leave a few minutes now to open up the floor and ask any questions. If anyone has any, use that chat tool. On that note as well, if you guys don't have any questions, the webinar is officially over. So feel free to start closing out if you don't have any questions. And while we kind of wrap everything up, if you have questions, send them over through the chat and we'll be answering those now. Social media or otherwise, let us know. And then also, if you do want to schedule training or if you want to learn more about Digital Range, feel free to visit any of these links. Thanks, Maura and Brent and Lauren. Appreciate you guys joining us today. I know somebody has a social media question. I feel like I've gotten plenty in the past. I'm sure someone has something that they're wanting to ask. And also note that there's no silly or bad questions. I know that social media is something that can kind of be confusing for a lot of people, especially if you're getting started with it. So, you know, feel free to ask the questions that you've kind of been afraid to ask, I guess. Good question, Scott. So Scott asked about being able to add a booking link to a story. So right now on Instagram stories, unfortunately, you do have to have, they have it set up so that to add a link directly to a story, you have to have 10,000 followers or a verified account. The alternative to that though, Scott, is going to be doing it by adding a link into your Instagram bio. And so you could link directly to the booking tee time page on your website. And then inside your stories, you can just say, visit the link in our bio to book a tee time, or however you word it. So there's kind of a couple workarounds until you hit that 10,000 follower mark, or until Instagram makes that a little bit easier, which I think we're all very eager for them to do. But that is something on that note that Snapchat does technically allow you to do. At any point, you can add links to your Snapchat stories. So just kind of on the other networks, there are some other options as well. Click to call. Not right now. Instagram doesn't have click to call. They do have a way that you can do asking questions, so people can actually reply directly to your story if you wanted to manually man your responses that direction. But Instagram stories have continued to kind of get new features. They're currently testing out a donations platform. So anyone who has a nonprofit or a foundation company, that might be something to kind of start thinking about is how to use it. So, but back on the original question, I wouldn't be surprised if click to call is something that Instagram's working on. I'd expect them to kind of roll out some more features along those lines for Instagram stories pretty soon. They do, though, also on that note, Scott, have the ability on your Instagram business page, so on your actual profile, that you can add a specific call to action. So you can have a calling action on a profile. I think I want to say El Dorado Country Club might be an example. Let me pull up their profile real quick. Actually, the Long Drive Agency Instagram as well has it, that in our profile, we have the call function. So if you want to check that out, you can experience that. That's a really good question, Becca. And yeah, I should have mentioned on that. I know I made a note to. How often should you be posting? 4 times is probably what, yeah. So you're saying that you've seen 4 times is what people have recommended. To be completely honest, the studies show that like 8 to 9 posts is when audiences truly tend to drop off. But if I was to give you like a realistic recommendation, definitely once a day, at most I'd say 2 to 3 times a day if you can kind of get up that direction. But I think once a day to get started and keep it realistic is probably the best bet. And then, 2 to 3 times I think is a realistic goal, and kind of one that you should probably try and stay pretty close to. Towards 4 is definitely a little overkill, especially if you are a private club and you're only running it towards those people. That would definitely probably be a little overkill. But Becca, definitely reach out to me directly if you're able to, or I can follow up with you, because I'd like to learn a little bit more about how you guys are doing it with being a very private club like that. If you're using a Facebook page or a Facebook group to reach your specific audience, I'd love to kind of learn a little bit more about that. Jessica, what link are clubs using for reservations? So the ones that I talked about specifically in there, a lot of those clubs, El Dorado Country Club and Willow Fork, I believe, were the 2 that we touched on. They're using Range Forms, which is our actual online form builder that allows for reservations. And it also is an online ordering form. There's a long list of ways that you can be using Range Forms, from event reservations to everything else in the world. So that's how a lot of them are using it specifically. Yeah. And you can also, I think, kind of on that note, the reason that Range Forms has been so beneficial for the clubs that are using it is, and there's a perfect quote from Mora, that Range Forms has transformed the reservation process for them. Yeah, I mean, Mora and Willow Fork have been one of the early adopters of using Range Forms, because what's nice is you can use one form for multiple events, or you can create forms for individual events. And on that same kind of direction, you can set limits to how many people can register for an event through Range Forms, and specific times that people want to make a reservation form. So there's a lot of flexibility with the platform that make it super easy. I'd be happy to follow up and provide some more information if you'd like, Jessica. Just let me know. I'm glad to hear that though, Maura. I'm happy that you guys have been really enjoying Range Forms. Any other questions from anybody? Even if it's off of social media, whatever we can do to kind of help provide some more insight, we want to make sure that we're hitting all the topics. We'll hang around for a couple more minutes, just make sure that no other questions pop up last minute. I want to thank everybody again, though, for joining today. We really did appreciate it. Yeah, that's a common problem that we've heard with a lot of the private clubs. I think, and maybe Maura and Lauren, if she's still in the webinar, can kind of comment maybe more specifically on how they've handled being a private club and posting reservations online. But I think the big thing to kind of keep in mind whenever you're doing that is just being clear in the event information that, hey, this is specifically for members only. And then even if you want to take it to the next level, is Eldorado and Willow Fork and those examples that are doing the event successfully on Facebook are using that Range Forms link for reservation. So in that Range form, you could set a required field that they have to type in their member ID. And if they don't type in their member ID, then they can't press submit type of function or conditional format like that. So there's definitely some ways I think that can be worked around helping that. Yeah, so Lauren, yeah, that's kind of, I think, probably the best, or one of the other ways aside from just setting a required field on the form is adding, and Maura, I guess, is backing me up on that, or backing us all up on that as well, is just adding a really clear disclaimer on there that says, hey, this is only for members. And then adding something on there as well that says, hey, if you're interested in becoming a member, let us know, type of deal. And so not only are you helping make reservations, but you're hopefully getting some new membership leads out of it as well. Yeah, and then creating that required field. Yeah, I think that there's quite a few ways that I think to Range Forms that you can kind of do it. And then if you're not using Range Forms, just adding that disclaimer and making it really clear. And then when somebody does call, mark them down as a potential member lead. If somebody calls you and wants to come to an event, that makes them a potential lead for you guys as well. So cool deal. We'll hang around for a couple more minutes and see if anything else comes up. But again, if anyone does have any additional questions, or maybe you don't want to ask it in the group chat, you can always reach out to us directly. My email is just chris@longdriveagency.com. I'd be happy to help through that direction or help you guys out that way. Hey, Jessica. Yeah, so I'll be following up. I'll be sending out an email later today, or definitely by the end of the week, with a recording of this webinar, as well as a link to all of the actual slides in a Google slide document. So this way you can share it out with the rest of your team and be able to kind of share it that direction. So yeah, we'll be doing our best to kind of share it across the board as well. And if there's anything specific, Jessica, that you wanted to make sure that I covered, or that you had specific questions or concerns about, or wanted me to include in the webinar for the management team, let me know, and I can include it in the email specifically to you, just any additional information that you may want. Cool. Well, I'm thinking that that's everything, unless anyone else has any other questions or wants me to cover anything else. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up and call it a day. But again, everybody, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help. Thanks, Ryan. Thank you everybody for attending as well. We're always happy to do these webinars, and we're going to continue to do these webinars. So keep an eye out for more information on upcoming webinars as well. Thanks, Brandon. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close up the webinar and end the actual call. But again, thank you everybody for joining today, and keep an eye out for the email with the recording and slides here in the next day or two. Again, thank you for attending, and we look forward to working with everybody in the future, we hope. Thanks.